Chris and Leia, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Hello, and welcome everyone to Beyond Passive Learning, Implementing Authentic Assessments. My name is Chris, and this topic is truly important to me as a Master's of Education student and a video editor with 20 years of experience. I'm at a point where I'm looking to either pivot to a new career path or expand my skill set for new opportunities. This is my second semester, and through this journey, I've become convinced that authentic assessments is the most effective way to prepare individuals like myself for the realities of professional transition. My experience as an editor has proven that a strong portfolio and a robust network were key to finding employment, which I believe aligns with the principles of authentic assessment. I like this quote from Adventure Time because it reminds me that I am a lifelong student, and the inclusion of authentic assessments in my classes provides a low-stakes environment where I can practice my craft and become better at it. For instance, in the class I'm taking right now, we have a weekly blog post due about the readings. For me, this isn't just an academic exercise. I'm able to use this blog as a growing portfolio to showcase my evolving understanding and insights to show future collaborators or future employers. Another assignment that's part of the course, I haven't done it yet, it's due on Sunday, but it's is starting and actively engaging with a LinkedIn profile. And honestly, this is something that I probably wouldn't have prioritized or even done on my own. But now as a course requirement framed as an authentic task, it's providing me with a crucial professional networking tool that has real world implications for me far beyond just getting a grade. And so as an older adult looking for immediate, relevant, and tangible outcomes from my education, these kinds of authentic assessments add significant value to my degree. They're not abstract assignments, they're directly contributing to my professional development and future opportunities. This is the power of moving beyond passive learning and embracing assessments that truly prepare us for what comes next. And speaking of these impactful, authentic learning experiences, I'm delighted to be joined in this presentation today by the very professor who designed these assignments I just mentioned, Dr. Wang. She is truly a champion of implementing authentic learning. Dr. Wang, I'd love to give you the floor for a brief introduction and perhaps share your perspective on the values of these kinds of authentic tasks.
Okay, thank you so much, Chris. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our presentation. I'm Dr. Lei Wang, an assistant professor at Auburn University, Montgomery, and I have implemented many authentic assessments. And today, Chris and I will share some strategies to support you in your future endeavors. Okay, Chris, I'll pass it over to you.
Great. Okay, let's take a look at what we aim to learn today. We have 4 key areas we'll be exploring. The first is we'll talk about traditional assessments and explore the characteristics that are common to those approaches and how they might fall short in preparing learners for the complexities beyond the classroom. And then next, we'll shift our focus to authentic assessments. Here we'll establish a clear working definition and unpack the core principles that make this approach so powerful and relevant. And building on that foundation, we'll get practical with strategies. We'll discuss concrete ways to implement authentic assessment effectively by taking a look at Dr. Wang's case study in which she implemented an authentic assessment module that incorporates Gen AI digital storytelling to teach civic virtues. And finally, we'll look towards designing an authentic assessment plan. We'll explore frameworks that equip you with the tools and understandings to create your own meaningful and impactful authentic assessments that your students can take into their life beyond campus. So this roadmap will guide our journey today as we move from understanding the limitations of traditional assessments toward embracing the potential of authentic assessment for deeper and more relevant learning. As we begin our discussion today, I wanted to pose just a quick question to everyone. What's the first word that comes to mind when you hear the word exam? And for me, even after all these years, the immediate word is stress. I recall back in, all the way back in 1998, the immense pressure placed on that single moment, that one opportunity to perform and demonstrate what I had supposedly learned from 4 years of high school. And this really highlights a fundamental characteristic of traditional assessment is its limited scope. As is often the case, it's a single occasion test that primarily measures what a learner can recall at that very specific point in time. And furthermore, the tools frequently employed in traditional assessment, such as multiple choice, true or false, and fill in the blank questions, often emphasize these lower order thinking skills like simple recall of facts. While these formats have their place, the significant burden placed on these tests to assess a student's comprehensive knowledge can sometimes lead to a focus on memorization rather than a deeper understanding and application, ultimately leading to a focus on testing and producing good test takers, but not necessarily the problem solvers or effective team members that are essential in our professional lives. These are critical considerations to consider as we move forward and explore why alternative assessment approaches such as authentic assessment are so vital in fostering deeper learning and truly preparing students for the complexities they'll encounter beyond the academic setting. Now, I think it's crucial to take a look at the current landscape of what employers are actually seeking. According to the National Association of College and Employers, nearly 90% of employers prioritize problem-solving skills in new hires, closely followed by the ability to work in a team. And what consistently emerges are soft skills, collaboration skills, and scenario-based skills, all qualities that authentic assessment is specifically designed to foster. So what exactly is authentic assessment? Simply put, authentic assessment involves the application of knowledge and skills in real-world situations. It's about creating student-centered learning and experiences that provide them with opportunities to actively problem solve, inquire, and construct new knowledge and meaning. And already within this definition, we can see alignment with the top two skills employers are looking for: problem solving skills and the ability to work in a team, which inherently encompass teamwork and collaboration. For me, this means providing students with a learning environment where they can become comfortable applying their knowledge in a controlled professional setting, collaborate and feel empowered to speak up and share their unique ideas, and ultimately produce tangible artifacts of their learning. To make this even clearer, let's break down some key characteristics of authentic assessment. Number one, real-world relevance. These assessments connect directly to the real world challenges and scenarios, engaging students in context-rich tasks that mirror professional experiences. Number two, collaboration and social learning. They emphasize teamwork and expert interaction, promoting discussion and shared problem solving. Number three, reflection and metacognition. Authentic assessments encourage students to reflect on their learning process, often through writing, fostering self-assessment and iterative improvement. This is crucial for lifelong learning. And the last one is multimodal and adaptive assessment. They utilize various forms of assessment, moving beyond traditional tests to include projects like digital storytelling, blog posts, and simulations, giving students choice and agency in how they demonstrate their learning. A fantastic example of this in action is a case study conducted by Dr. Wang, where she skillfully incorporated AI and digital storytelling to teach civic virtues, providing her students with a deeper and more meaningful learning experience through the power of authentic assessment. I'll pass the mic over to Dr. Wang's expertise to discuss her authentic assessment design.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So today I'd like to introduce two examples. First of all, let me begin with one of the cornerstone projects in my graduate course, INST 6213, computer-based instructional technology. This assessment is titled Collaborative Digital Book on Civic Education in Montgomery. It's a group-based, performance-driven project that asks students to create a digital storytelling project centered on civic identity, and action. What makes this project powerful is not about the format, but the real-world impact, interdisciplinary integration, and the challenge it poses to students to design, not just to learn. Let's move to next slide. I'm going to talk about why I conducted this study. So for this project, my goal was to bridge instructional design with civic education. In this course, students learn about the technology integration frameworks like TPAC and UDL, but frameworks alone aren't enough. Authentic assessment demands application. As we all know, the key characteristics. So I needed a way to see if my students could transfer their understanding into a real-world instructional design context, something culturally responsive, locally rooted, and pedagogically sound. This is where the digital storytelling book project came in. It allows me to assess not just about their knowledge, but their creativity, collaboration, and the students' ability to make learning personally and socially meaningful. And why I conduct this study, I'm going to introduce the background of this study. Chris, can we move to next slide? So last year, I was selected as a Civic Rights and Civic Virtual Faculty Fellow. So I had the opportunity to align with this course with our university's mission. As you can see, there's a QR code. You can look into this, the website about this mission. So actually, our university has a mission to foster civic identity through community engagement learning. As you all know, Montgomery is the capital of Alabama. It is the birthplace of civil rights movement. So my question was, how could we not integrate that into our instructional design training? So we just grounded our assessment in place-based learning. Students explored local history because this organization offered a lot of field trips, so students can go to different places to have the field trip and interact with the staff in the museums. And the students connect with social justice themes and express their findings through digital storytelling. This turned the course into more than a learning experience. It became an act of civic participation. Now I'm going to talk about the purpose and alignment. So this wasn't just about learning to use book creator or AI tools. So this course, students were about using technology to amplify voices, tell untold stories, and engage with themes of equity, justice, and community. Throughout the assessment, students gained an authentic context to explore instructional design principles, virtual and civic rights literacy, and the opportunity to align their digital skills with meaningful civic engagement. Now I'm going to talk about assessment overview. So students work in teams based on their flexibility. So they could work in pairs, work in a group of 3, and some students choose to work on their own individually. So students most of them worked in teams to author 1 chapter each in a collaborative digital book. For each chapter, they were trying to address a civic education topic specific to Montgomery. They were encouraged to use AI tools like ChatGPT or Claude to bring some ideas, script narrative flow, or generative visuals with clear rationale and ethic awareness. So this approach not only enhances their media production, it depends this project depends their reflections on responsive AI use in education. And now I'm going to mention about the learning objectives aligned. So here's where we see the learning outcomes shine. Students didn't just passively engage with the concepts. They had to apply ID principles they learned throughout this course in real time using digital tools. They had to build digital literacy through media production. Students had to collaborate, iterate, and present their work to a public audience. So these objectives anchor their growth, not just as a tech user, but as a designer of transformative learning experiences. And I also use some frameworks in this study. So authentic assessments are meaningful, as we know. And when students work with each other, they were trying to integrate theory into practice. For this project, I introduced 4 main frameworks to students. The first of all, TPAC, using AI tools, not as a novelty, but purposeful. And I asked them to purposely integrate the technologies into the project. And secondly, culturally responsive computing, honoring identity and voice. Thirdly, connected learning, linking personal interests to civic themes. Students chose different themes based on their past experiences. And lastly, UDL, ensuring access and inclusion in all digital formats. So this framework alignment ensures rigor and, more importantly, relevant. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about deliverables. So the deliverables reflect a performance-based model, a collaborative chapter with interactive media, a reflection log for metacognition and process analysis, a class-wide published book shared with local educators, and an AI use rationale to promote transparency and ethical thinking. These outputs mirror professional practice while giving students a chance to create something real, shared, and lasting. And next, I'm going to talk about characteristics of authentic assessment. So let's take a step back and map these features onto authentic assessment indicators. So as Chris mentioned about the key characteristics, and when we reflect on this project, so the project has real-world relevance, local civic topics that matter, and performance-based. And students produce an original multimedia book, and it has a socially situated situation. Students collaborate, mimics real-world ID teamwork, and students learn to express their understandings using text, visuals, audio, and interactivity. And students reflect from each week's reflection logs. So they had the peer review activity, and they use AI supported editing features to edit their final production. And this is more than just a final project, it's a transformative design process. And next, I'm going to talk about another project. So this is the classroom website with social media integration project. So students were very interested in how to incorporate social media into their classroom websites. So I designed this assignment. The rationale here is very simple. Educators today must build an online presence that's professional, accessible, and ethically sound. So based on students' pre-course survey, they mentioned they really want to create a very professional website. And in this assignment, student designed a 3-page classroom website that includes a homepage, teaching materials, and integrate social media like X, Instagram, YouTube. The students are required to include a reflection on how social media can support professional growth and student engagement. They must also create external educational resources to extend the learning. And let's move to next slide, and we can see students' examples. So as you can see, there's a QR code on the right. You can scan and have access to this website. I'm going to show one example for my students. So this student create a website that includes all the instruction, classroom information, assignments, resources for students and parents. I think this is quite comprehensive. And I want to highlight this example because it beautifully illustrates the power of this assignment. So this is from the coach Whiting's classroom website developed as part of the social media integration project. So as you can notice right away, it's not just a tech task, it's really a communication hub. Coach Whiting created a vibrant, accessible website that includes classroom information, schedules, assignments. And also, I really like how she created the photo and the video gallery to celebrate student activity. There's also, this is definitely excel my requirements. I think the students also, added the social media page connecting the class with families and the school community through very professional updates. This website communicates care, presence, and professionalism. What makes this a authentic assessment is it simulates a real-life educator responsibility and requires the design thinking and ethical tech use. When we design authentic assessments, I think we have to integrate elements like UDL and digital literacy and reflection, everything we want students to learn applied in one place. So as I'm going to wrap up, I think I'll leave you with this authentic assessment. It's just not about evaluating students' knowledge. It's about inviting students to practice who they are becoming as educators, instructional designers, and change makers. And that to me is what teaching is all about. All right, Chris, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. I think for the next part, we will do a brief overview of learning theories and frameworks we can use to scaffold designing authentic assessments. This is situated learning theory. This theory provides a powerful lens for understanding how learning occurs in real-world settings. At the heart of situated learning is the concept of community of practice. This is a group of people who share a common interest, profession, or goal. And what they want to do is emphasize learning within this community. So they would like to do the authentic context. Learning is most effective when it takes place in a meaningful real-world situation. Cognition is situated and shaped by the environment that they're thinking, and learning is deeply influenced by the context and the environment and setting of where they're doing the learning. Social interaction is crucial for knowledge construction, that we actively build knowledge through collaboration, discussion, and interactions with others in the community. Learning involves becoming a member of a community of practice. This is the goal of learning, is to become a proficient participant in the community, adopting its practices and ways of knowing and learning from each other. Focuses, and the last one is focuses on the doing of knowledge, not just knowing. This is the applicable practicality of this theory is situated learning emphasizes the active application of knowledge and skills within the community, shifting the focus from passive reception to active participation. So situated learning theory provides a strong theoretical rationale for authentic assessment, and it highlights the importance of context, social interaction, and active participation in meaningful learning. All right. Now, these are two key frameworks that can guide us in designing effective, authentic assessments. These frameworks provide structure and help us ensure we're hitting the critical elements of authenticity. First, we have the 5-dimensional framework. The 5-dimensional framework is a framework that helps us consider authenticity by examining 5 crucial aspects. Task. This asks, what do students have to do? This emphasizes the assessment should involve activities that mirror real-world professional tasks. Physical context. This prompts us to think about with whom do they have to do the task, considering whether the work is collaborative or individual in a professional setting. Social context. This prompts us to think with whom do they have to do the task, considering whether the work is collaborative or individual in a professional setting, and the result or form. This looks at what must come from it, emphasizing that the assessment should produce a tangible product or performance similar to what a professional might create. And criteria. Finally, this asks, how will what they have done be evaluated? Stressing the importance of using real-world criteria for judging students' work. This framework provides a comprehensive lens for designing assessment. And then next we have GRASP framework developed by Wiggins and McTighe. This framework offers a different perspective. I think it focuses more on how we present the assessment to the student and makes it a little bit more interactive for them and engaging. And so GRASP stands for goal. This clearly defines the objective and purpose of the assessment. Role, to immerse the student in a specific role or scenario. You can establish your, role playing, whatever job you want to do. Audience, this clarifies who the student is creating or performing for. Situation, this establishes the real world context or challenge. Product performance, the tangible outcome performance the student will produce, and standards and criteria, how your work will be judged. So both of these frameworks offer valuable tools for designing authentic assessments. The 5-dimensional framework provides a lens for designing the assessment, while the GRASP framework provides a lens for presenting the assessment to students in a way that enhances engagement and understanding. There are challenges to address when implementing authentic assessments. When implementing authentic assessment, one significant concern is ensuring the authenticity of the task. It's crucial that these assessments truly reflect real-world professional practice. And because the challenge is that authenticity can be subjective. What we perceive as authentic may not align with what professionals in the field consider authentic. This can lead to assessments that miss the mark and don't adequately prepare students. To address this concern, a key solution is consulting with a subject matter expert. They bring valuable insights. They can define authenticity more accurately by providing concrete examples and feedback, and ensure tasks are relevant to the jobs that they do, and develop appropriate criteria. Another significant concern when implementing authentic assessment is the inherent complexity of authentic tasks. Authentic assessments, by their nature, they can be very chaotic. They're ill-structured problems. They're mirroring the real world. So there may be multiple solutions or no single right answer. There's also multidisciplinary approaches. Tasks may require integrating knowledge from different areas and skills. And there's also real-world constraints like time limitations, resources, and just the practical challenges of creating something like a professional. To address this concern, I think we can just go back to the frameworks like GRASP and 5 Dimensions framework. They offer valuable guidance. By using these frameworks, we can design complex, authentic tasks in a more structured way, provide clear guidelines and expectations for students, and develop effective rubrics for evaluating student work. And this will help scaffold the learning process to support students as they engage with these complex tasks. In essence, while complexity is an inherent challenge in authentic assessment, these frameworks provide valuable tools to manage that complexity and create effective learning experiences. And then finally, I think scoring and grading can be a little confusing. A key principle to keep in mind is that the criteria should be aligned with professional standards. This means that how we evaluate student work should mirror as closely as possible how performance is judged in the relevant profession. And as I said before, you can always consult an SME for this, or you can analyze professional rubrics. You can look at how professionals evaluate performance in similar situations and try to focus on the key competencies that ensure that your criteria assesses the relevant professional competencies and not just knowledge recall. I think by grounding our scoring and grading in real-world professional standards, we can make authentic assessment even more powerful tool for learning and preparation. So just to wrap up, as this diagram illustrates, when designing authentic assessments, certain threads were weaved through the definition of frameworks and learning theories. And these 5 aspects are in all of them. And that is real-world relevance. Authentic assessments should connect directly to real-world challenges and scenarios. And this also helps the learners see the value and applicability of what they're learning. Active application, a core tenet is that authentic assessments require learners to actively apply their knowledge and skills rather than recalling information. So authentic assessment should involve students doing something meaningful and engaging with the material. Contextualized learning assessment should be embedded within specific settings or situations. The context in which learning and assessment take place is crucial, providing a realistic and relevant environment for the task. Collaboration, recognizing the social nature of learning. Authentic assessments often incorporate collaboration and communication and interaction with others. And this mirrors how work is frequently done in real-world settings. Performance-based. Authentic assessments focus on the demonstration of learning through the creation of a product or performance. This emphasizes what learners can do with their knowledge and skills rather than just what they know. So by focusing on these key factors, we can design authentic assessments that are more engaging, effective, and relevant for our learners and preparing them for success beyond the classroom. Thank you for your time. If you have any further questions, you can email us or does anyone have any questions? Dr. Wang, your mic's not on.
All right, sorry. So thank you so much for your question. I think I really want to involve people from different fields in this course. And definitely we have students from the industry currently, and also most of them are from education. They are in-service teachers. Thank you, everyone.